up now, we have the mayor of Rawabi, who's going to be speaking with us, and he's going to join the stage right now. Hi, Ibrahim. Can you hear us all right?
Hi, yes, I can hear you clearly. What for you?
Oh, I can hear you just A-OK. Everyone, can we hear Ibrahim A-OK? Excellent. Okay, very good. Well, I'll let you take the stage and just explain everything about Rawabi and how it's doing in the post-COVID world.
Okay, first of all, and before beginning my session, which illustrates our city resilience experience in shielding itself in coronavirus time, and how we reacted to this pandemic, I will take this opportunity to express my deep appreciation for all laborers all around the world in their day, the International Workers' Day, which celebrated annually on the May 1st, and it's a national holiday in more than 80 countries. Palestine is. Going back to our topic, which is our city, how our city reacted in the coronavirus time, and it's also about our resilience experience. Starting with the spread of the coronavirus, devastating impact on cities and its economies. As we all know that all over the world, this pandemic forced many companies and many cities to shut down all activities for a long time. In our case, we here trying to tell you more about our experience, taking into consideration that studying the reality and the effects of coronavirus pandemic will last not just for 1 or 2 months. Maybe it will take years after it ends, while tomorrow will not wait. And because of this, we have to do all our efforts to learn from this. As we do in all massive struggles as humans, we stay concentrated on or at main threats, while others are evolving. At the end, what really matters are the day after. Because of this, we have to think a lot about how to deal with our economy, with our daily life activities in the day after. The COVID-19 crisis started to fade locally, while it will come to an end soon. But until we get there, we have to keep certain health and social measures in our city, and to do what we can do to protect our community, and to work on healing its major effects on businesses and economies. Here in Palestine, out of around 5 million Palestinians whom are living in the West Bank and Gaza Strip, there are only 507 confirmed coronavirus cases, while death counts reached only 4. This is according to the World Health Organization's today's report. Generally speaking, we can comprehend our journey and draft our plans for many kinds of crises in 4 stages, starting with readiness and primitive precautions, going to response, then recovery and thrive. If we studied the Rawabi story during this era or during this stage of coronavirus spread, regarding this outline frame or 4 stages outline frame, in our case in Palestine, for the readiness and primitive precautions, we know that due to the deteriorated political conditions resulted from the long Israeli occupation, which also laid its shades on our economy and health system, we absolutely weren't ready for such pandemic, or even for smaller major health alerts. What we really know that we haven't expected such great or such big pandemics. Well, we made it up, and we make up for this with a very strict and fast response from our government and from our people also as well. After identifying the COVID-19 cases in China, and while it started spread globally, here in Palestine, we began practicing preventive social distancing, canceling events, and other hygienic precautions in public spaces, transportation, and reaching up to the elevators in the malls even, in line with raising the awareness about personal protection precautions over the first couple of weeks. Going to the response, and on March 5th exactly, the Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas announced the state of emergency in Palestine after identifying the first coronaviruses in Bethlehem for Palestinians whom dealt with international tourists. Accordingly, our Prime Minister Mahmoud Abbas announced, Dr. Mohammed Shtaya announced related orders, such as closing all schools, universities, and banning the public gatherings. Just short time after that, the government turned to emergency work scheme, including shutting down all governmental and private sector businesses, except for health institutions and, of course, the police and the army. The government started the emergency scheme, or its emergency scheme, led by the Prime Minister, and formed the cabinet for all governors. Each governor as well formed his emergency group from police, civil defense, and army leaders and mayors in his governorate, while local emergency groups were led by mayors. The point is, the local government unit, which is the municipalities here according to the system in Palestine, were used as the tool to control and to control the virus socially, and to protect the people via many methods that we will discuss now. That municipalities were given also the responsibility of managing all aspects of people's lives and needs within their jurisdictions under the state of emergency and under the governor's order and law. Then the municipalities, and Rawabi municipality is one of them, formed local emergency groups, mainly from volunteers and from the staff, its staff itself, which covers all aspects, which covered all aspects of needs, starting from food and supply chains, reaching to the healthcare, security, and up to quarantine and special medical units to deal with corona cases. In Rawabi, and starting from the first week in March, let's say starting from 5th of March and a week after that, the city founder, whom is the biggest employer in the city as well, Mr. Bashar al-Masri, announced his emergency work plan for all his employees in tens of companies, not only in Rawabi, but also in many cities in Palestine. That he told his employees, or he ordered his employees, that they can work from home, while he will not lay off any employee in this period of pandemic. Also, he will pay a full salary for them. This gave a big leap, or a big push for many other Palestinian businessmen to do the same, in order to keep the economic situation is going well while this or during the pandemic time. Exactly in March 25th, after 3 weeks after, the city was totally closed for 14 days. And we gave the people 24 hours to decide if they want to leave the city or they're going to stay within the city. All city entrances were closed physically, and one entrance was left for emergency cases with security and health control checkpoints. All businesses were shut down in the city, except for groceries and bakeries, and according to minimized working hours. For example, from 10 to 5 p.m. for both of them, and for pharmacies also as well. The closure order also renewed for another 14 days after that. The first two weeks in our city, it was like a quarantine for all. Hygiene and primitive healthcare, intensive healthcare measures strictly forced by the municipality and by the developer for all. People stayed home most of their time, except for specific needs. The whole city has been sprayed with disinfectant many times. All city public spaces, building entrances and elevators were also cleaned with special materials and detergents every day. During the second 2 weeks, things are a little bit different. Things were a little bit different. And after we made all measures in order to take or to be sure that no cases were infected inside the city or reported inside the city, we let the people go out from their homes for specific hours, only for specific hours. Also, one park was open in the city, but with keeping hygiene and primitive healthcare measures such as social distancing rules and other rules. Starting 1 month later from closing the city or the closing order, in April 26th, 5 days ago, forced security and health measures turned to minimum and replaced by self-primitive measures, which has to be taken by the people. Now we changed from forcing the rules on people to giving the people the rule to do the self-primitive measures, such as wearing the face masks and the gloves and continue to use the continuous use of disinfectants. This is how we reacted. And as you saw, we haven't been ready for such big pandemics or diseases, as you know, due to the fact of the occupation. Now, when we go to we are nowadays in the recovery phase. The coronavirus disease hasn't faded at all, or hasn't faded to the end, but still we are started to recover from its effects. Then nowadays our life started to go back, and our businesses started to go back under special safety and health precautions. We are so glad that our city made it without having any coronavirus case. But the economic effect is very severe. For example, small businesses and hourly workers and hourly paid workers who works on hour basis and shifts and operations, and their operations have been fully stopped for more than 50 days till today, or till the 25th of April. They only received food and main supplies via social solidarity initiatives done by the civil society and by the municipality. The government haven't paid till today anything for them. On the other hand, the big companies and businesses are facing high operational costs with no revenues. So, also construction sectors and many factories had fully stopped for more than 60 days. Many people found themselves without work for the next 2 months or 3 months, for example. I'm not sure how long it. Okay, they are telling me that I just finished my time. I just need five minutes.
Yeah.
If it's okay with you. Okay, I'm not sure how long it will take for the recovery. Still, it needs big decisions such as tax recovery, tax exemptions, and higher accessibility to money, loans, and businesses for people, and some changes in our public investment priorities. This crisis unfolded the generosity and kindness of our people. It also demonstrated a very high level of awareness and command from our people and from our government. I also will take this opportunity to thank our city founder, Mr. Bashar Masri, for his support for the city and for the Palestinian government as well, and for his white hands for all his employees during the coronavirus epidemic. We found that small to mid-sized communities such as Rawabi are better and easier to control in such cases. In our city, and due to the fact that we have a kind of state-of-the-art infrastructure, no infrastructure failures or malfunctions recorded, and urban disperse and less density is better and more resilient in this condition. Going finally to the thrive. This journey has pushed Palestine towards a new era, and bridged confidence between people and government. Our private sector played very important role, not less than the government role. Many walls and obstacles have been disappeared in all aspects of life. This pandemic locally boosted the web-based activities, the e-learning, e-commerce, and delivery businesses and supply chains. It also forced people to rely on e-payments and pushed many businesses to work on a critical edge of human and non-human resources. We found that ICT businesses in the city and software outsourcing companies are the most resilient and safe in such races. Even some ICT startups make good money during this pandemic. New horizons opened for labs and for local factories and local technologies in the fields that we never thought that we will enter even. We will, to end it with just one sentence, will the world look at the same after this? I'm not sure. Then we will not look the same, and our cities will not look the same, and we will not be the same. Thus, we will have to seize opportunities out of this. And this is my word for all of us. Let's seize many opportunities out of this. And I'm sorry for taking additional five minutes from your time.
That's no problem at all, Ibrahim. Thank you so much. It's really great to hear from people in the field that are actually working on these projects right now. So thank you very much.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.